In this video, I'm going to cover the product options implementation. There's a lot of moving pieces to this, and it might take a video or two to fully clarify, but please feel free to ask any questions or for any clarification. So I've started here on the product options, all product options, and you'll see there's a whole bunch of entries here. There are in fact over 2,000. Each of these is one option offered on a product or multiple products somewhere on your site. These are grouped together in what are called option groups. So for example, you can see here that all of these fabrics are grouped somewhere under fabric options, and fabric options are offered as options on some of your products, obviously. So there's very little to these individual product options. There's a title and optionally an image. We may add a field for this to help you support, having images or having image selectors, but most of that's going to be pretty automatic. There shouldn't be a lot of work there. So that's each product option, just to make sure the vocabulary is straight, is one choice the user can make across the whole site. That's why there's so many of them, because they're all on this screen, they're all clustered together. This actually isn't the best way to look at them. If we go to product option groups, this should be a little more familiar. So these are individual groups. I think they might have been categories or something on your old site, and you can see each of them has a name, and over here there is a count. The reason I said the other screen isn't the best way to look at them is because if you come here and you click on the count number, you can view just the ones in that category. So again, a product option is one individual option, such as this Roadrunner pattern, and then an option group clusters those into different groups. Ideally, these are then offered in full chunks, or in full to different products, but that isn't required. So let me show you how these work. So let's say we had that fabric option, so we'll stick with that. So I'm going to go now into product data. Oh, and I am on the product data website, just to help keep that clear. So I'm going to go into this trestle table, and there's now underneath all this product data that you've already been familiar with. As soon as it loads. Shouldn't normally take that long to load, but yes, it happens. So underneath all of this information that you're already familiar with, you have this new area, this product options, and that is where these come in. Now, this user interface, I did not anticipate there being this many options. I think I'm going to have to do like a scroll or something so that it stays a normal size, but each of these has all of the different. So these are the product option groups, and then it shows each item in the product option group over here on the right. So if I go down to fabric options, which should be here, so again, until we have a nicer, or until I just enable a scroll on that, it may just be a little unwieldy, but it's all here and it all works. Okay, so here we go. We have all the different options you can see, and there are a few drop downs here, or a few options in the drop down. Inherited, unavailable, and available. And they all default to inherited. And that goes to a feature called presets. But I'll get back to that in a moment, but if this had several fabric options, you could simply enable them like that. You don't have to be clear, you can leave them on inherited. Actually, I guess I better explain presets first. I think that'll make a lot more sense. So product presets. So the way this works is you're kind of creating like a template product, not with any of the product data, but as far as the options being presented. So let's make a simple one. So we're going to call this preset A. Now you could do this for, I really think that presets are the way to go to help speed things up, and in that regard. It may be worth spending some time thinking about this and how to best use them. You can, if there's any common configurations, like if a certain builder can make all their tables out of the same 20 different species of wood, then it's worth creating a preset. So I'll go ahead and do that. So builder A, wood table options. Okay. So now you find all the things that are common to that. So let's say they have it with and without an apron, just because that's here. I'm going to say those two are available. Now you'll notice on the presets there's no inherited, and inherited will make sense I think after I explain this. So I'm going to say that those two are available, and that these armrests, maybe I don't know, I guess it comes with chairs, our hypothetical product here, and okay, you can do a bar stool with memory swivel, stationary, or regular swivel, but not as shown. So I'm going to go ahead and save this preset. So I haven't really provided a whole lot here. There's no need for a description, just a name and a few options that are available from the large list. It's occurring to me that these we could probably do with a button here that's like, you know, like a check all, like a make all available, make all unavailable. But that won't change the actual the functionality much. But now that I see how many options there are, that does look helpful. Okay, so I've now published that. So let me go back to product data and try that again. I think it'll make more sense this time. Nope, it appears to still be loading. There we go. So I'm going to go back to product data. Edit a table again. Give that a second to load. So the way presets work is, at this point, if I tell the website that this table uses that preset, it will assume that all the options for this table are the same as the preset, but you can still go in individually and turn them on and off. So your presets don't have to be perfect. You know, if builder A uses 20 different woods, but certain products only use, or a small number of products only use 18 of them, 2 of them aren't available, you don't need to make a new preset. You can just use the same one and turn those woods off for the individual products. And I know you had that ability on the old website, so I tried to carry that through to this one. And hopefully that does end up working for you. So what I'm going to do here is inherited. What inherited means is use the value from the preset. So I'm going to go ahead, and now you see that this one that I made is here. So I'm going to choose that preset, and I'm actually going to save. This is an important step, and we'll document that somewhere, but you do need to make sure you update the page after you choose the preset so that it has a chance to reload, and it knows which ones will be chosen by default. Now in the scenario I was just talking about while this loads, you know, if half of a company's products use a different configuration, then using a different preset may help. One thing to know with the presets before I go on is that it is a live connection, meaning if you go back in later, and let's say that, I think this is where the power comes in. If that company, if that hypothetical builder adds more options, and you go into the preset and you update the preset, all the products that use that preset will get those new options. You won't have to go in, there'll never be a need to go into individual products to add those options, which should be, I don't know how often that happens, but it should be helpful. All right, so the interface has changed a little bit. So if I go into one that we didn't deal with, like this base options, so what this is telling me is that the builder A wood table options, given the value in the preset is that these are not available. And if I go to one that I did choose, for example, I turned on the apron options, it tells me that the preset tells me wants these to be available. So the actual setting is inherited, meaning use the preset. I can also say it is unavailable, meaning ignore the preset and it's just never available for this particular product. And I can also say available, which means ignore the preset, it's always available. Now in this instance, what would happen is if you went in to the preset and changed it so that with aprons limits self-storage options is not one of the presets, it'll still be available. So that, I guess, is probably the most complicated thing, just to make sure you have your head wrapped around. The preset gives you presets. So, in here, okay, maybe this is a better example. The armrest options, we chose some of the examples, but we chose some of the armrest options as part of the preset. And so you'll actually see how it's check, 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 XX, which is the same as here. This is just telling me, because all these are inherited, this represents the preset represents what the actual options shown to the user will be. But if this particular trestle table does not have padded armrest options, then we can turn that off. And if it does have wood armrests, we can turn that on. And if I were to save this, you would see a slightly different set of values. So this would be available because it's inherited and the preset has it available. The as shown option would be available because it's inherited and the preset has this option as available. The padded armrest would not be available because even though the preset says it is, you've said for this product it's not. And the without arms would not be available because the preset says it's not available. And finally, the wood armrests would be available because even though it's not available in the preset, you've explicitly told it that it is available for this product. So ultimately, this column tells you which options are and aren't available. And then I'm not going to save this because this was all junk data and I don't want that floating around in there. So I'm going to turn this back to no preset and change these back to inherited. So what that's going to do is, once I get rid of the preset, they're going to inherit from nothing essentially, which means they won't be available. So yeah, so I think the concepts from the old website have all carried through. There weren't really presets, so that might be something you might want to figure out on your end, what some like large categories of presets might be. How granular, how specific you want them to be, whether it's per builder, a handful per builder. This is where you know your business far better than I ever would. And but I'm excited and happy to help any way I can. If anything about this feature seems like it's going to be clunky or unavailable or unhelpful, like I said, I think there's a little bit of room for improvement, and I believe we still have some time in the budget on this. So if there's anything you see that would be helpful, please let us know. I do think a button that just says make all of these, make everything on this screen available, make everything on this screen not available, etc. That's probably going to increase this 90%. So yeah, so let me know what you think, if you think it'll work, if you have hesitations, and we will get working on a checklist that you asked for as far as making sure product data that's been entered is complete.